YouTube live है ना ये? Okay. And don't worry, whatever questions you've got, please ask me. ठीक है ना? So please don't take tension about it. जी, okay. What is your name? Rahul. Okay. Yeah, it is live. People are still not there. Okay. So good morning to all of you. Morning. This is mainly for the DAMP 2 students. However, since we are in YouTube live, anyone who feels like he or she can join and they can ask whatever doubts they have regarding answer writing, but in GS, not for optional. Point number 1 and point number 2, not even in ethics, because the way you write your answers for paper 1 to 3 and for paper 4, there is a difference. And regarding that, regarding writing answers in the ethics, that will be taking a separate topic, separate class. Okay. So you see, first of all, let me make it very clear that answer writing is not some rocket science. Okay. Eventually, there are some people who are naturally good at it, so they will start writing good answers since the very beginning. But for others, they do need a practice. But if I compare students who are from arts stream to those who are mainly from the engineering stream, because we know that in these years there are too many engineers that are in the field. Engineers, they have got an inherent advantage because of the way, the nature of shift that UPSC has seen, UPSC has taken. Because previously you had to write 30 marks questions, 40 marks questions, 60 marks questions. But now it's only 15 marks, 10 marks. So what happens is that you have to write an answer to a question in just 2 pages or 3 pages. So what advantage engineers have is that since in their college, they have always been to the point. Just whatever the question is, write it briefly and move on. That is what you have to do here. Just stick to the question's demand, write nothing else, no more literature needed. Even if you have got an introduction, that introduction has to be in reference to the question's demand. Avoid a generic introduction, but in case you, okay, I'll come back to that in a while. And even the conclusion, that has to be specific. Okay, ठीक है? So, and yeah, for the YouTube live students, it is bilingual. So in case you have got doubts, type it in the chat box. Even you can type in Hindi and I shall be explaining those doubts in English. I have taken some of the questions from the previous year questions as well as from our test series, the last 2 weeks that have gone by, and I shall be taking specific questions and how to frame their answers. ठीक है ना? So regarding answer writing, most of us are concerned about content. Ki sir, will this be sufficient? Will that be sufficient? There are students who have sent me some of their notes that sir, for this topic, is this sufficient or should I go for more? I have all those in my phone. But the point is that you see, content plays a limited role. It has got important role, but its role is limited, because at the end of the day you have to write just 2 pages or 3 pages. So naturally, even if you have got 5 points for, 5 points against, your job is done, right? So you have to focus on content, but apart from content, there are other aspects of the question writing that we need to focus on. And the answer writing I have divided it into 4 parts. The very first is so these are the 4 important and significant segments of writing an answer. And there is a specific chronology. It's not like I have written it anyway. There is a specific chronology. Why this is the first point, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth one? I will be discussing that. Okay. So you see, your content is the material that you have and you want to present that to the examiner, right? But unless you know what to present, because your basket has got this much amount of content. Suppose examiner is asking something else and you are presenting to him something else. Naturally, he or she will not be satisfied, and despite knowing everything, you will not be getting marks. So that is why the first thing comes is understanding the demand of question. This is the very first thing. Generally what happens is that we do not understand the demand of the question and we start writing anything. Just like look at this question. And one of the students, he had asked me regarding this, where is that question? Cassation benches, mechanism, article. Yeah, this question. Look at the first question on 19th September. Question says, do you think that 73rd Amendment has contributed to the achievements of gender and social justice at the grassroots level? Give your suggestions. This was a question, right? So what that student had done, he was having all the knowledge, and I have got his copy in my phone as well. But since this is a public platform, I will not be taking name or presenting his answer copy. Okay. So what he has done, he went for 73rd Amendment. It has done decentralization. Then it was reservation, and then other factors. Everything about 73rd Amendment he has written, because in the question it is about 73rd Amendment. But then look at the question. What does it say? Achievement of gender and social justice. So the question is about 73rd Amendment, but its demand is very specific, very limited. And that demand is regarding gender and social justice. So no doubt here you will be writing about the reservation, but link that with social justice. Why? Because now look at the question. What is 73rd Amendment? Yeah, constitutional status to, yeah, this is a bit too high. Constitutional status to Panchayati Raj institutions, right? So our villages, casteism is very, they are steeply dipped into casteism. Deep rooted casteism is there, accepted. So when we give reservation to the SCs and STs, what does that mean? It means they will be in the decision making position. Previously they were not, they were relegated to the fringe of the society. So through that we are bringing them to the center of decision making. We are trying to streamline them with the main segment of the society, that is social justice, right? Gender justice, because patriarchy is most prevalent again in the villages. So when you give reservation of 33% to women, and some states they have increased it to 50%, we are again bringing even them to the decision making. There are specific directives to the collectors and SPs that this panchayat pati, sorry, mukhiya pati and sarpanch pati avoid that and take strict action against any such practice. What is that? Gender justice. So this is how the same content that we have to mold that as per the question's demand. Your content will remain same, but you have to argue in a manner so that the key demand of the question gets addressed. Then another question comes from your side is, sir, how to understand the demand of the question? How to understand it? Read it repeatedly and carefully. Underline the key terms that you are finding in the question, and while writing the answer, go back to the question again and again and again. Going forward, 2 months, 3 months down the line, naturally this will become your habit, so you won't be needing to read these questions again and again and again. Okay, so that is why when you people say कि sir 12 मिनट में आंसर नहीं हो पा रहा है, बहुत ज्यादा समय लग रहा है, generally you people say it. Last Sunday also in that discussion, Zoom discussion, the same question was asked. फोन पर लोग भी पूछते हैं, सर समय ज्यादा लग रहा है. I want you to spend more time on this. I want you to spend 2 minutes on just understanding the demand of the question, because if you start understanding the demand, as you practice more, you get more proficient in it, naturally time taken will reduce to 15 to 30 seconds. There you are saving time, right? So that is why I have said there are two things. It is about patience and practice. Just two things, please remember this: patience and practice. आपके पास जितना पेशेंस रहेगा, बिकॉज दिस इज अ वेरी स्लो मूविंग प्रोसेस, दिस इज नॉट अ स्प्रिंट, दिस इज अ मैराथन. एक बार प्री देते हो, आफ्टर दैट मीन्स देन कम्स द इंटरव्यू. व्हाई सच अ लॉन्ग प्रोसेस? बाकी एग्जाम्स का क्या है, तुरंत तुरंत खत्म हो गया. बिकॉज दे नो कि जस्ट फॉर acquiring this skill, and it is not about this skill of answer writing. This skill of answer writing is because tomorrow when you become part of the administration, when you are going through the documents, you can find a gist of it, you can understand the crux of it, and you can just write down a 5-page document into 4 lines, and you can present that to whatever authority is senior to you, or you can accordingly direct your subordinates. So उससे डेवलप करने के लिए naturally it will take time. So that is why I say to you people again and again and again that please give time, even if it takes half an hour to write an answer. Right. Okay. So now in understanding the demand of the question, there is another aspect to it. Okay. So we are adding one more screen. Okay. There are some key terms, like there will be discuss, then enumerate, then elucidate, it is comment, analyze, and critically analyze. Okay, suggestions, generally we bother a lot about these terms, and naturally we should, because this shows the demand of the question, right? And what happens is that when coaching centers they frame their questions, they do not put too much emphasis on these keywords. They will put a statement, and then at the end of it they will just put either discuss or elucidate or comment or something. Always remember that you have to present both sides of the argument, because that is what makes your answer balanced and shows to the examiner that you have all round knowledge about this specific topic. Yes, proportion, that will be differing. In what proportion what should be written, and in what proportion what should not be written. Okay, like you see, at the term that troubles most of the students is this: critically. Critically comment, critically analyze, critically discuss. For this I have got some of the PYQs. Look at these PYQs, and specifically I have, these are from different years, so, and I have written down the years. Just look at the nature of the question where this term critically has been used. Okay, here it is examine, and here it is critically examine. And then I think one more question it would be where this critically term has been used. Just a sec. No, it is just one question. Okay, what are the suggestions? Okay, so since we have got, if you have got any more question you can put it in the comment. ये बार बार डिस्कनेक्ट क्यों हो जा रहा है? So you see, when this term critically examine comes, there will naturally be a negative tilt to the question. So that is why you will be in a position to write more number of counter arguments. So that is why when this terms, and this will be natural to the questions demand. Just you look at it. NJAC Supreme Court judgment on NJAC. This was a question from 2017. Okay. So Supreme Court's judgment on NJAC, Supreme Court talked about separation of powers and all, but at the same time its judgment, there were many flaws, there were many negative comments made about that judgment. So that is why naturally you will be having more number of negative points. To whatever question this critically word has been added in the UPSC. In general coaching centers, you may not find that, and you will be finding it more difficult to write negatives, because it will be a question where you have got more number of positive points. Then again, what you will be doing, naturally you will be curbing your instinct or curbing your knowledge. You will be writing less number of positives, and you will try to stretch your answer to write more number of negative points. But in UPSC that is not going to happen. Not just this question, you can look at any question. You will find that this tilt is very much present. That whichever word this critically has been used, you will be having more number of negative arguments. I mean counter arguments. Okay. So that is why do not bother. Then comes examine. As usual, you have to look at it in detail, various aspects in detail, you have to put in arguments. And yes, even if it says discuss, discussion generally tends to move towards 1 or 2 dimensions, but always try to diversify your point, because that shows that you have got all round knowledge about the specific topic. And moreover, the better thing is that you have got more number of points, because on the same dimension you will be having hardly 1, 2 or 3 points. But suppose I am talking about political, I have got 2 points. But then if I talk about the economic dimension, naturally I'll be having at least 1 point. It can be social dimension, another 1 point. So your 2 has become 4 now, and all 4 are fresh points rather than the first 2 points that you were knowing. If you try to manipulate or stretch it, it will simply be repetition of the previous point. And you can find that comment in your answers that this is the repetition of first point, repetition of second point. Please try to understand that. Okay. So हाँ, एक और दिक्कत जो कि एंड स्टूडेंट्स दे हैव आस्क्ड मी, यार ये कनेक्ट क्यों नहीं हो रहा है लाइव चैट? No, leave it. I'll simply look at it from the YouTube, because on my phone it is continuously getting disconnected. कनेक्ट क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? Okay, now I can look at it, whatever they can write. Okay, so another question, this was asked to me on the phone कि सर वो क्वेश्चन था and it was regarding the same question. कहाँ था? Yeah, this question only. Do you think? So when this term do you think came, that student, he asked me कि सर मैंने अपने सारे के सारे ओपिनियन लिखे, I wrote all my opinion, but such an adverse comment has been made by the evaluator. Always remember that do you think does not mean what do you think, because you are no authority. And what would they get from you? Because naturally either your or my knowledge, our knowledge is limited. These are some of the reports, committees, statements, arguments, they have been made by experts. So who are we? So do you think does not mean your personal opinion, but it is about your knowledge, your understanding of the issue. And another important aspect is that always write in third person. Always write in third person. Do not write so I think. Nahi. So it is suggested rather than I, it. Okay. It would be better. It would be beneficial. Something like that. Not in first person, in third person. And try to do this with ethics too. But in ethics, the scope is naturally less, because you are being asked that you are in the so and so position. So their first person will come, but try to move towards third person so that statement becomes more generic. Moreover, if you are talking in first person, your gender you can simply show. There is a chance, right? So that is why when you are in third person, there is always scope for becoming a common gender neutral person. And yes, here write in third person and bring in the statements, suggestions, recommendations made by experts, committees and all that. Okay? Because you see, you simply understand who are we? Are we someone? Are we in a position to make a comment on this? And why would UPSC want to know what you think? They are concerned about your knowledge, your understanding. And that knowledge, that understanding will be based on what you have gone through, what you have read. So that is why do you think does not mean your personal opinion. Always means your knowledge about the subject matter, reports, comments and all made by various committees. Okay. Online students, in case of any doubt if you have got, you can keep asking. अदरवाइज अभी नहीं पूछोगे और बाद में फिर से कॉल करके और उसके बाद फिर जो वीकली हमारा डिस्कशन है, अगेन यू विल आस्क द सेम क्वेश्चन. दिस इज द टाइम फॉर यू एंड दैट इज व्हाई आई हैव पुट इट यूट्यूब लाइव. प्लीज आस्क व्हाट एवर क्वेश्चन यू हैव गॉट. स्पेसिफिक इसीलिए मैंने दोनों वीक के क्वेश्चंस भी रख रखे हैं यहाँ, कि अगर किसी स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन में दिक्कत है आप सामने से पूछो कि सर इस वाले में क्या करना, उस वाले में क्या करना, उस वाले में क्या करना. ठीक है, ठीक है. और जब एन्यूमरेट की बात आती है, एन्यूमरेट सिंपली मीन्स 1 2 3 4 5 पॉइंट फॉर्म. वैसे तो हमें पूरा आंसर लिखना है, लेकिन वहां पे एन्यूमरेट यही आएगा, एन्यूमरेट द कॉजेस. कोई एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं देना है एन्यूमरेट में. फर्स्ट कॉज, सेकंड कॉज, थर्ड कॉज, फोर्थ कॉज, फिफ्थ कॉज, बात खत्म. क्योंकि इट इज सिंपली सेइंग एन्यूमरेशन. डिस्कशन जनरली टेंड्स टू बी अ मोर जेनेरिक writing, but no, our answers have to be diversified, and whatever be the keyword, you have to give a counter opinion as well, just to show that you have all round knowledge of the answer, diverse knowledge. Okay. फिर जैसे ये suggestions आपने बताया था, suggestions, it simply means that okay, what are the suggestions. And again, if you have got some concrete, then put that. Apart from that, suggestions means suggestions of various experts, committees, reports, recommendations. ठीक है ना. और उसके बाद स्ट्रक्चरिंग के ऊपर आ रहे हैं. ठीक है ना. So your after that comes structuring the answer. This after understanding the demand, it's but naturally that you will be needing to structure the answer. ठीक है ना. In case of structuring, very simple. Intro, body, conclusion, right? This is in general the form, and generally the way marks are given to you, it is that okay, this much marks for this portion, this much marks for this portion, this much marks for this portion. And one of the students asked me कि सर उस तरीके से आंसर नहीं दिया गया है. He got marks out of complete 15, I think it was 5 or 5.5. So you see, when anyone is examining your answer, when anyone is evaluating your answer, there is no constraint that he has to give specific marks for intro, specific for body, specific for conclusion. That person goes through your whole answer and at the end puts a mark, that how out of 15 how much does he or she thinks that your answer is worth. So do not bother about that कि आंसर एक ब्रेक करके दिया गया नहीं दिया गया. Do not bother about that. और यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि suppose from intro to body your answer was not that great, but when the examiner shifts from body to conclusion, he finds something very interesting, something very unique, very innovative. Naturally your marks will increase by 1 mark. Suppose he was thinking about 4, suddenly he will say no, he deserves a 5. Or suppose this portion was very good, but again coming down you have written something that is either too extreme, politically biased, or something that is that even in case of generally it won't be such a dip, but generally we tend to give something like some very harsh argument, something that cannot be thought from a sane minded person. Suppose the question is about population control. And in suggestion, you would say that the government should go for strict enforcement of population control law. Okay, the government has a particular stance, but that cannot be your stance, because that goes against a lot of common human values. So when the person finds that naturally your marks is going to dip by 2 marks, perhaps I was thinking of 4, you might be getting 2, 2.5. So something like this can always happen, because this evaluation is not objective, it is not some machine that is checking your answer. It is ultimately human. And not just this, a lot depends how good was copy that was evaluated before your copy. If it was very good, comparatively, even if your question is of a bit lower quality, your marks will dip significantly. Or suppose the copy previous to you was completely irritating types, and your copy comes comparatively better, naturally your marks will shoot up. So again, not just what you are writing, even during examination, this thing plays. So tomorrow it may be a situation, you will bring to me a copy, sir, both of us, we have written the same thing, I have got 4, he has got 5.5. Why? I am explaining that to you. So be ready for that, because simply evaluation cannot be objective, because human element is involved. One day you show me an answer, I will give you a 5, and another day you show me that the same answer, I will give you 4. This is quite possible, because after all, I'm human and there are multiple factors. Yeah, I don't know, you do not know what was my day, how was my day before you are showing that answer to me. So all these factors that play on mind, and what we start to think, we start to tend to compare objectively कि सर उससे इतने मिले हैं, मुझे क्यों मिले. Moreover, there is not just one evaluator, there will be a set of evaluators. How one evaluator looks at one copy and how another evaluator looks at another copy, that will again be different. So naturally there will be a difference in. So in this examination there is a lot of subjectivity involved, and since you people are at the beginning stage, I am just making you aware. लेकिन ये कंक्लूजन नहीं लेना कि सर इतनी चीजें, इतनी दिक्कतें हैं यार, फिर तो इसमें मुश्किल है सब कुछ, मतलब कि वो फिक्स्ड है वगैरह वगैरह, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. बट या दीज आर द लिमिटेशंस, दीज आर द कंस्ट्रेंट्स, एंड यू हैव टू प्ले विद इन दिस बाउंड्रीज, विद इन दिस कंस्ट्रेंट्स. ठीक है. सो इंट्रो, बॉडी, कंक्लूजन. ठीक है. किसी का कुछ आया है क्या? नहीं आया है. ओके. सो देखिए, इंट्रो के केस में व्हाट वी हैव टू डू, we have to be brief and we have to be brief in conclusion as well. At the max 2 lines, 2 लाइन से ज्यादा का इंट्रोडक्शन नहीं होने का, बिल्कुल नहीं. एंड हाउ यू कैन इंट्रोड्यूस, इट कैन बी बाय these are 3 different ways by which you can huh? Yes, you can. Just like suppose there is a question regarding radicalization, you can give example of Jodhpur killing. You can give reference that the killing of a tailor by his own neighbors indicate towards increasing radicalization in the society. Initially you can explain what is radicalization, and to substantiate that, in the second line you can give reference to example Jodhpur killing of a tailor, or killing of tailor by Jodhpur, by neighbors in Jodhpur. ओके, ठीक है ना। या फिर देर इज सम रिपोर्ट, सपोज इट इज इंडियन स्टेट ऑफ फॉरेस्ट रिपोर्ट, ऑक्सफैम रिपोर्ट रिगार्डिंग इनइक्वालिटी, it can be, suppose it is about crime, then NCRB report, suppose some report is of Niti Aayog, you can give reference to that, ठीक है। जैसे क्लाइमेट चेंज के रिगार्डिंग हाउ मच थ्रेट इंडिया इज 7th ranked in climate vulnerability, so you can give reference to that, but try to keep it brief. Even if you have got this much big definition, try to shorten it. There lies that, because generally in the beginning, even in case of points in the body, you are writing 4-lined points. Again regarding this also I had a call and I said, पहली बात तो प्रेजेंटेशन अच्छा नहीं था, मैंने कहा यार आपने इतना बड़ा लिख रखा है तो सर इसे कैसे करें। I simply said him कि ठीक है इस पॉइंट को you could write like this, तो सर आपको पता है मुझे नहीं पता। So again, because it is all about practice, वो है ना कि आप जितना ज्यादा आपके पास प्रैक्टिस है, आप किसी भी बड़े लाइन को, बड़े डॉक्यूमेंट को उतना छोटा कर सकते हो। सो इट इज ऑल अबाउट दैट प्रैक्टिस, एंड मोर ओवर दैट इज वाई आई आस्क यू टू टेक हाफ एन आवर, सो दैट आपके पास जो बड़ा पॉइंट है आप उसे छोटा करके लिख सको। थिंक अबाउट इट एंड देन राइट इट, क्योंकि once you have written it, that is going to stay in your memory, that is going to stay with you in the form of notes, and that is why even in those model answers whatever I give, I always try to make very brief points, and your points can be even more brief. There is no need even to make complete sentence. In notes there are complete sentences, absolutely no need, just 5 to 7 word points, give reference to, just give the information, बात खत्म, ठीक है। दिस इज रिगार्डिंग इंट्रोडक्शन, देन कम्स, ठीक है ना। और तो इंट्रोडक्शन के रिगार्डिंग कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। नहीं, एक और चीज है, जस्ट जैसे, हाँ देखिए ये वाला सवाल है, टू मेंटेन बैलेंस बिटवीन सेंटर एंड स्टेट इज लाइक वॉकिंग ऑन अ टाइट रोप। दिस इज जस्ट वन स्टेटमेंट, and then comes the question that considering the recent areas of contention between state and center, examine how the chasm can be bridged, ठीक है। So here what you have to do is, you have to substantiate this first line, because this is the first part of the question. First part will be the statement, you have to substantiate it, and generally the first statement, which is just any common statement, it is something you will always have enough points to substantiate that. और उसके बाद फिर क्या, what will be the second part, recent areas of contention, and third would be suggestions. Yes, to maintain the balance between center and state, you have tried in intro, you have to give it in intro or body. Intro, suppose had there been a keyword, then you could explain the keyword and then substantiate this line, or even first substantiate this line then explain the keyword. Okay, you can simply look at it that why is it like a walking a tightrope. Why? Because center has to ensure uniformity of administration and state looks at their own autonomy. So when these two things are in conflict, naturally there will be tension. So these two competing interests that tend to create conflict, and that is why it becomes very difficult task to ensure the balance. So through this you have substantiated that it is like walking on a tightrope. I think in some of the previous year question I have got such a statement. Look at question number 3. To enhance the quality of democracy in India, the Election Commission has proposed electoral reforms in 2016. So naturally one part would be, this does not mean you will simply start writing suggestions. First you have to explain about enhancing the quality of democracy. Okay, and then you will have to come to this part, what are the reforms that have been proposed. Elections, democracy, then facing challenges, and then what are the suggestions, and then comes what you see again, this portion and this portion, they are same. First asks what there are some reforms proposed, and next part says what are the suggested reforms. So the moment you are writing the reforms, these are the reforms suggested, no need, these both these parts of the question, they have become the same, right? And suppose this part had not been there, suppose, let's just tweak a question a bit. Suppose the questions were, what are the challenges and suggest. Okay, so even then also you would be writing what are the proposed reforms, and then you would go to the challenges. Look at it, UPSC, it does not give you so many dimensions so that you are unable to handle. It has given one more dimension, but then it has merged with the previous portion of the question. So there is a way they frame questions so that you do not have to write too much, you will not be at great pain. And then comes, how far are they significant in making democracy successful. Again, जब ये टर्म आता है ना, when these terms come, how far means, yeah, to what extent, how far, to what extent, both are same. So you will be writing, yes, they are beneficial, but again there are issues. Still, despite all these efforts, despite all these reforms, we will not be able to. So that is why it is saying how far, kis had tak. So yes, it will be able to tackle the challenges, but up to this extent only, not beyond that, because beyond that there are even more problems. So there will be further reforms that will be needed. ठीक है ना. और जैसे कि, और यहां पे आप क्या कर सकते हो, what you can do is that generally it is said that diagrams, flow charts and all, so you can do is, so generally in case of substantiation, making arguments regarding the first statement of the question, you can go this way.
We all comes in body, not in intro. Not in intro, it all comes in body.
Yeah, when you are going for this substantiation, then this will be body up. You see, many a times what happens, both these things, they get merged, and that becomes easier because suddenly it is a very gentle shift from intro to the body. No hard breaking, but simply a very gentle shift from intro to the body. ठीक है ना. In case I have got some questions, देखो, you see, Rajya Sabha has been transformed from a useless stepney tire to the most, again here Rajya Sabha, and then why it was termed as useless stepney tire, and how in past decade it has become a supporting organ. ठीक है. Rajya Sabha here use as useless stepney tire, here use those specific key terms only, and I'll be talking about this in the presentation part. ठीक है ना, क्योंकि आपको यू हैव टू यूज दीज टर्म्स एज सब हेडिंग्स, ठीक है। सब हेडिंग्स में ये स्पेसिफिक टर्म्स यूज करने, यूजलेस स्टेपनी टायर एंड मोस्ट यूजफुल सपोर्टिंग ऑर्गन, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, एंड आफ्टर दैट यू विल गो फॉर what are the factors involved and area, what are the factors involved and areas of visible transformation. What are the factors involved? Question 2020 का है. So again, why? Because in the lower house the ruling party has got an absolute majority, so the opposition, they need to cooperate, coordinate with each other. Then in Lok Sabha, bills being passed without much discussion, so naturally Rajya Sabha acting as a check on hostile legislations.
Then here it has four components: visual stepney,
Yes,
voting organ, factors, transformation.
yes, 4 parts, but here only useless, you can do this useless stepney tire 1 2 3 4. This portion be brief and greater detail, because this is specific demand of the question. This is just one statement. We are trying to address this statement and parts of this statement. So that is why in this portion be brief, and that is why I am saying you can use this flow charts, burst diagrams, arrow diagrams. ठीक है ना, वो क्या होता है, that is also making your copy a bit attractive, not that monotonous, and it is also addressing the demand of the question, because you are addressing every part of the question. ठीक है,
So 25% we can devote to this.
Yes.
25% to the demand of the question.
yes, हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. और यार देखो, when you start writing it, you naturally get a hang of it. अब you are talking about 25 75, I am not talking this percentage because I know that going forward naturally you will be in a position कि ठीक है, first half of the page or 2/3 of the page for this statement, and rest 1/3 and the next pages for further 2. Okay, something like that. Or even it can be, since there are 2 specific parts to it, first page you can devote to this one, these 2 portions, and the next 2 pages for second. And because it is also not only talking about factors but areas, so again here it will be usually stepney tire, supporting organ, then factors, separate subhead and points, and then areas of transformation, separate points will be there. Otherwise what you people tend to do is that factors and areas, do not do that. Break your answer in as many parts possible. That makes it easier for the examiner. He will simply look at your subheadings and he will understand in the first look that you have addressed all parts of the question. Otherwise, suppose ki, what is our job? Our job is to make the life of examiner easy. क्योंकि अगर उसकी जिंदगी आसान है, अच्छे नंबर देगा ना, तो आपने मुश्किल कर दी कि आपने उसे भूल भुलैया में डाल दिया कि कम ऑन नाउ सर्च विच कंटेंट आई हैव रिटन वेयर. उसके बाद क्या हुआ, आपका प्रेजेंटेशन भी उतना ही बुरा है. वो 55-60 साल का इंसान है, राइट? Why will he give you good marks? He is not compelled to give you good marks, because almost 90% of the copies that he will be going through, they will be of similar quality. So that is why it is your duty, and moreover I have said this previously as well, I think IR this week, that just look at the marks. You will find that around 150 and 200 ranks, for 1 mark there is a competition between 8 to 10 students. So imagine, even if the examiner gets irritated, gets frustrated and deducts 1 mark, how detrimental that can be. You have gone from one service to another service or further to another service, and eventually you can even go out of the list. So सारे का सारा खेल मेंस का ही है, because it is the mains that decides whether you are going to be in that list, and if yes, where you are going to be in that list. So that is why we are putting focus on this answer item. Okay, ठीक है. So अब हम देखते हैं नेक्स्ट पोर्शन. इंट्रो डन. Next comes body. Body again, try to keep it content dense. Content dense. Break it in as many parts. Okay. If you are knowing the question, try to write it in point format. But generally what happens is that you are not knowing the question. Generally it happens around questions on culture and questions on world history. So when you are not knowing the specifics, then you can go for paragraph format. And even when you are in paragraph format, always make small paragraphs. Not more than 3 lines, at the max 4 lines. Make small paragraphs and change paragraphs frequently. ठीक है. और वहां पे क्या है, और ये प्रेजेंटेशन का है कि सपोज this is your answer sheet, okay, and your paragraph, previous paragraph, you are writing it and it has ended here. Okay, leave space that is necessary and start from here. Always try to start a new paragraph from the middle of the page. Generally computer के जमाने में what we tend to do is we start from here, not in UPSC. इसके पीछे का रीजन क्या है? Why am I suggesting so? These are all very little hacks. Okay, tell me.
Use a different paragraph gap to tell examiner.
You are almost right. The point is, when I look at this, I can simply say it. Suppose this point was here, or suppose it was here. My point ended somewhat here, and I gave a back gap and I start writing from here. How will examiner know that this is a new paragraph? But the moment I start writing from here, examiner simply knows that okay, this is a new paragraph. So again, our job is to make the life of examiner easy. ठीक है? So these are some very little hacks. और आप लोग क्या दिक्कत करते हो पता नहीं यार, पेज बचाने की कौन सी बेचैनी होती है कि यहां पे ये पैराग्राफ खत्म हुआ, बिल्कुल यहीं से स्टार्ट कर देते. यू पीपल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम हियर. व्हाई? क्या करना है पेज बचाकर? व्हाई डू यू पीपल वांट टू सेव सो मच पेज? I understand it is about environment, it is about trees, but please at least for UPSC, for the time being you can forget that. एक बार बन जाओ, उसके बाद एनवायरमेंट मिनिस्ट्री में जो करना है करते रहना. बिकॉज यहां पे यार एग्जामिनर, सपोज करो ये सिचुएशन है, एग्जामिनर को पता कैसे चलेगा? क्योंकि लाइन नहीं है ना, इट इज अ कंप्लीटली ब्लैंक पेज एंड वी जनरली टेंड टू डाइवर्ट. हम ऐसे 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 लिखना होता है, हो जाता है. जनरली इट हैपेंस दैट सपोज दिस इज योर आंसर शीट and you are writing, you will not write exactly straight. You generally tend to go like this. And suppose here again you start writing like this, लास्ट में जाते जाते it is going to get congested. या फिर आप इसको भी इसी तरह से स्लैंट करो. थोड़ा देखो, अगर ये स्लैंट हुआ भी है ना, आपने थोड़ा सा स्पेस देकर यहां से स्टार्ट कर दिया ना, नेचुरली है कि यहां की वाली लाइन स्ट्रेट आएगी कंपैरेटिवली. सो अगेन फ्रॉम द प्रेजेंटेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दिस बिकम्स वेरी गुड. ओके, so these are those very small things that can help you a lot. उसके आगे जब हम पॉइंट लिखते हैं, and again you see I am mixing presentation and body, okay, क्योंकि anyway that will be part of body only, ठीक है ना. So rather than going back to presentation and then discussing everything, you see, try to write in 1 2 3 4 5. वो क्रिएटिव नहीं होना है A B C D E. Okay, this also shows that you have written these many points. But the point is यार कि एग्जामिनर के लिए आसान बनाओ ना, कि जब वो लास्ट में ऐसे करके उसने चेक किया, उसे पता है कि अच्छा इसने 5 पॉइंट्स लिखे हैं, इसमें उसे क्लियरली दिखेगा नीचे में पॉइंट, यहां में वो क्या करेगा, F मतलब छठा पॉइंट. Why to do that for him? प्लीज इस चीज को समझो. हमारा काम उसकी जिंदगी को, आर ड्यूटी इज टू मेक हिज लाइफ इजी. इफ हिज लाइफ इज इजी, या he is definitely going to reward us, or at least even if not rewarding, at least he'll not punish. ठीक है, तो ये काम करना. उसके आगे, और ये कल की ही बात है, कल का ही सवाल था. सपोज क्वेश्चन वाज रिगार्डिंग, अगेन विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू गवर्नर क्वेश्चन ओनली. और हाँ, मैंने सेकंड वीक के जो क्वेश्चंस दिए हैं उस पर चीटिंग नहीं करनी है. 12 o'clock एनीवे दैट विल गेट अप. टुडे फ्राइडे राइट? Saturday, then it's fine, because Saturday the question will get uploaded, because I have got those 2 questions that will be uploaded today. Okay, so yeah, where I हाँ, suppose the question was regarding सरकारिया कमीशन. Okay, तो कहा कि सर ठीक है सर, सरकारिया कमीशन के पास आई हैव गॉट 3 पॉइंट्स, एंड देन अगेन कम्स पुंछी कमीशन. तो अब इसकी अगर हम पॉइंट वाइज जाते हैं तो हम इसकी नंबरिंग कैसे करें? वेरी सिंपल. सरकारिया कमीशन रिकमेंडेशन 1.1 1.2 2.1 2.2 2.3. I know initially this will be difficult, but that is why I am asking you to practice. क्योंकि धीरे धीरे आदत बन जाती है, प्लस ये दिखने में कितना अच्छा लगता है. लगता है ना कि ठीक है भैया, यू हैव रिटन इट इन अ स्पेसिफिक फॉर्मेट. और ये नहीं कि 1 के नीचे ही हमने 1.1 1.2 स्टार्ट कर दिया. नो, जैसे कंप्यूटर में कैसे होता है, 1 के बाद 1.1 थोड़ा सा स्पेस देकर लिखा जाता है. यू कैन अडेप्ट दैट, एंड 1.1 यहां, 1.2 यहां, 1.3. ओके, सो दीज आर सम स्मॉल लिटिल हैक्स that will be useful to you. Next comes body. Okay, no one has got any question. ठीक है, अब आते हैं कंक्लूजन पे. As I said, just like intro, at the max 2 lines. And you see, in conclusion naturally it has to be forward looking and positive. Criticism के साथ खत्म नहीं करनी है. Under no circumstances, even in case of nuclear attack. वहां भी suppose question is about Russia, threat of nuclear attack on Ukraine is a cause of instability for the world. वहां भी हमें पॉजिटिवली कैसे कंक्लूड करना है. सो इट बिकम्स द रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ ग्लोबल कम्युनिटी along with Russia and Ukraine to come together and avoid such a mishap or disaster. बात खत्म. That's it. ठीक है.
So way forward and conclusion.
एक मिनट. You see, सबसे पहली बात तो unless the question says what is the way forward, do not write that keyword, do not write that subheading. वो बोल रहा है कि what is the way forward, there you will write way forward. And conclusion नहीं लिखना है. That conclusion term, because some students they have written. ना इंट्रो के ऊपर इंट्रो का सबहेड देना है, ना कंक्लूजन के ऊपर कंक्लूजन का सबहेड देना है. So you see, many a times your way forward can be a conclusion. और अगर क्वेश्चन में there is a specific, it has asked that what are the suggestions, naturally suggestion is the way forward. Okay, that way forward means what, how we should move ahead or how we should go ahead. So naturally your suggestions will be for going ahead, moving ahead. सही है. तो उसके आगे क्या होता है ना कंक्लूजन के केस में, सपोज question ends with what are the challenges. So here we can conclude with suggestions. Since there is no specific demand of suggestion in the question, you can conclude with the suggestions that I have covered the suggestion portion in the conclusion. What are the challenges associated? Last में, by taking steps like this, these challenges can be addressed. हाँ, खत्म हो गया. या फिर अगर उसने वे फॉरवर्ड पहले से पूछ रहा है कि गिव सजेशंस, सो आफ्टर सजेशंस देन वी विल conclude, give a separate suggestion, because suggestion ultimately is the way forward. So you see what happened, and I think you are taking way forward in a different sense. You are talking about way forward in a much broader sense, that how you look at the future. That becomes the conclusion. If you are looking at way forward in the form of suggestion, then it can be part of the question, part of the body. But if you are looking at way forward in a much broader sense, then the same way forward is conclusion.
How to, according to the questions.
Exactly. So you see, first of all, what do you understand by way forward? Then I'll answer this.
Way forward is what to do in future if the problem arises.
Okay, what to do in future. Okay.
Solution to the question.
That is what suggestions are. In suggestions also we are doing the same, right? We are giving suggestions that what can be done to handle it.
Suggestions is based on committees, reports, votes, key suggestions.
Not necessarily, because at the max you will have 2 to 3 points from committees and reports, and just 3 points cannot, you will have to write at least 5 to 6 points. और वो जो है ना कि लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए हमें क्या करना है, what we have to do for on a longer horizon, keep that aside for essay as well as for ethics. Okay, ठीक है ना, because here we do not have that much page and that much time, and that is why conclusion that becomes something much broader. ठीक है कि there we given a general idea that with greater cooperation between Russia and Ukraine or Russia and the West, it will be a win-win proposition, not only for those two nations or groupings as well as global community as a whole. That's it. This is your conclusion, this is your way forward, the way you want to put it. So please do not entangle yourself in all this. This is something very simple. More you practice, and in case there are specific question where you are feeling problem, come contact me. You have got contact number, you have got WhatsApp, even you have access to this place. You can come, we can sit, we can discuss. ठीक है? So that is what conclusion. And conclusion में कोई भी नया dimension नहीं लाना है. Do not bring any new dimension in the conclusion. Always remember this. Be it ethics, be it essay, be it GS. No new dimension in the conclusion. Conclusion simply means now you are ending your answer. And while ending, you not bring in something new. You just sum up what you have discussed above. Okay? So that is conclusion. Next is content. Something that troubles you people the most. The very first thing is we must remember that our need for content is very much limited. Just a 2-page note on any specific topic is sufficient, because there you will have to put in your examination, you will have to put in introduction, then conclusion, as well as the content that you have and various dimensions of it. So at the max 2 to 3 pages. ठीक है ना? And whatever your content is, try to keep it diversified. The very first thing, it is assumed that you have completed your foundation. This has been assumed, because unless you have completed your foundation, we would not have switched to this. Because before you start writing anything, you need to have knowledge about that specific topic. And that is why this time, this DAMP, Daily Answer Writing and Mentorship Program, the purpose is that, and I have explained this in one of my IR this week lectures, that your foundation is over, and this is the time, even for those students who had not cleared their prelims this year, because this is the time when you tend to procrastinate things. कि ठीक है जनवरी के बाद पढ़ेंगे, फरवरी के बाद पढ़ेंगे, then what to do in these 4 months? So in these 4 months you complete your GS, you hone your skill of answer writing, because naturally from January and February you will be switching to prelims anyway. So what you are doing now, that will be helpful in post prelims in your mains, because there you already have the skill of answer writing. So after writing 1 or 2 answers, naturally you will get back your mojo, right? And moreover your content is there. So you see, between prelims and mains, those 3 months are just for 2 things: revise, write test, revise, write test, revise, write test. And as you go for revising and writing tests, whatever mistakes you are committing, you do not repeat the same mistake. हाँ, और इसके through, now I remember one more instance, and that was from the same student from this question only. Yeah. In this do you think question only, that student said ki sir, I have gone through many of the toppers copies and they have written like this. So you see, I am not doubting what you are saying. You must have written, you must have seen some of the topper copies. But we must also remember that the topper at a particular point of time was a beginner. So naturally in the beginning he or she would have committed the same mistakes that you are committing now, because it is a gradual learning process. He or she would have made mistakes that would have been corrected. He or she would have corrected himself or herself, then further improved, and by the time she is ready for mains, she is almost prepared. So we must also look at the point that at what time that copy had been written. You just cannot go on following blindly anything, because there is something called as common sense as well, and a general understanding, a general knowledge. Here suppose someone is writing in first person that I think, say it yourself, does it even look fine that I should be writing this in first person? Who am I? Why my suggestions would be needed? And my exact explanation to that student was that, you see, tomorrow you are committing these mistakes. Suppose today you are committing these mistakes, and suppose tomorrow you go on to become a topper. So naturally, when this piece of copy comes in front of the students, should they consider this an ideal copy? The answer is no, because here you have made mistakes, your mistakes have been pointed out by someone, then you have rectified your mistakes and you have gone to improve yourself. Because none of the copies that you see in the market, they have been corrected. You only see the blank copies. So you are not aware what are the mistakes that had been pointed out at that point of time in that copy, and how that particular person improved himself or herself. So this is another aspect that we must be very much clear about. ठीक है, अब वापस आते हैं बॉडी पे. ठीक, हाँ, कंटेंट. You have completed the foundation, so you must be having your notes. What you are expected is, since topic has been given to you, revise your content and then write down the answer and take your time. But do not take time कि ठीक है ये question है, now I'll be referring to my notes and then I'll be writing down. No. Take as much time out of those 24-hour window, take 23 hours for revising whatever your notes are. But in that 1 hour, you have to focus and dedicatedly write the answer without any reference. You will say कि सर ये वाला तो आता नहीं था, या फिर ये वाला तो सर आउट ऑफ सिलेबस था, जो आपने सिलेबस दिया था उसी के अंदर का नहीं था. UPSC has not given any syllabus to you. They can ask any question from anywhere above and below the earth, sun, solar system, galaxy, whatever you think of it. So we want to maintain that element of surprise. You will find some questions from current events, and you will find some of the questions from 2 years back. So one of the student, his query was कि सर 2 साल पहले वाला कैसे prepare करें? It's humanly not possible. So this is how we have tried to do it, that when we ask questions to you and when we provide you with the model answers, naturally you will try to read about that specific topic, because it does not matter how many marks you get now. All it matters is how many marks you get in that मेंस एग्जामिनेशन. ठीक है, सो कंप्लीटेड योर फाउंडेशन. सेकेंड इज दैट you must be having your notes. Okay, remote control है. So इसके आगे क्या है ना कि आप we have given you a specific question. You felt uncomfortable with it. Still write that answer. Whatever 5, 7, 9 lines, completely irrelevant things, just write it. So that you are in a situation where you can write few lines about a question you are very little aware about. Because naturally in UPSC, in any paper, there will be one or two questions of that particular type. If you do not write anything, you are going to get 0. If you write 5 to 7 times, it may so happen that you might get 1 or 2 marks. And that 1 or 2, we have already discussed how great a difference that can make. So we want to maintain that surprise element. Okay? So uske aage what you have to do? you have to supplement your notes with the model answers. And yes, jitna model answer mein hai, that is not the only content. There is more content, but since we try to stick to the word limit, that suppose it is a 150 word question, we try to ensure that the answer is roughly between 250 to 300 words. We try to ensure that, so naturally the content will be less. Otherwise वो होता ना कि otherwise we would have been given a complete note of 4 or 5 pages, and that actually makes no sense, because the purpose of providing you with model answers is very simple. You read that model answer and you try to understand that, okay, how different parts of the question have been addressed. Okay, next, go through internet, books, booklets, magazines to supplement. So you see, every day you are getting 2 questions. In a week there will be 12 questions. In a month there will be 48, roughly consider 50 questions. So at least through this practice your 50 topics will be covered if you do this diligently. And that is the purpose, that through this practice not only you hone your answer writing skills, but you also prepare your notes, you also revise the complete syllabus. और उसके आगे कोई दिक्कत आती है तो मैं हूं. Almost every day, and there are students who have talked with me for more than 2 hours. सर ये वाली दिक्कत है, सर वो वाली दिक्कत है, सर ऑप्शनल में ऐसा हो रहा है. एंड बिलीव मी, देयर आर स्टूडेंट्स हु हैव कम, हु हैव सैट, हु हैव टॉक्ड एंड सेड, आई आस्क, ओके टेल मी, स्टार्ट टेल मी व्हाट इज द इशू. सर पढ़ने का मन नहीं करता. सीरियसली, they have come, we have sat, we have discussed, we have devised specific strategies कि अच्छा बताओ कहाँ पे दिक्कत आ रही है, किस पोर्शन में कैसे दिक्कत आती है, क्या मन करता है, दिन में कितने घंटे पढ़ते हो, क्या. और so through this discussion, because you see, notes you are going to get from anywhere. Whole market is flooded with notes, internet is flooded with notes. So notes is not going to be an issue for you. For every topic there will be multiple documents available, multiple things available. But point is how to read that, how to remain engaged in the process, because your mind is such that suppose 15 days, 30 days, and you tend to deviate. Because one of the student, his concern was, sir mere friends, they are well settled, they are in job for last 3 years, when I look up to them I feel somewhat disadvantaged and I start questioning my decision. It has come to me, they have discussed all this. So then we sit either or phone, because believe me, every day 1 to 2 hours I have to talk one student or the other कि सर इसमें ऐसा क्यों, किसी की WhatsApp पे they will send copies and in that copy सर बताओ इसमें ऐसा क्या है, तो उसमें क्या इम्प्रूव करना है. एक ऐसा स्टूडेंट मिला एंड ही वाज फ्रॉम PSIR ऑप्शनल ओनली. ही सेड कि सर PSIR पेपर 2 में मुझे दिक्कत है, आई एम नॉट स्टिल वेरी कंफर्टेबल, बट दैट स्टूडेंट हैज गिवन 2 अटेम्प्ट्स एंड आई स्कॉल्डेड हिम. फिर मुझे बताना पड़ा, भाई मैं तुझे डांट रहा हूं, समझा नहीं रहा, सो प्लीज टेक दिस मैटर सीरियसली. बिकॉज इफ यू आर नॉट completely ready with your optional, how can you even think of giving 1 attempt? Because even if you clear prelims, how you are going to qualify mains? And unless you are ready for the mains, there is no point giving the prelims, because prelims is merely of qualifying nature. So ultimately you are wasting your attempt, and suppose you have wasted your 3 or 4 attempts. Next pressure kicks in that I have got only 2 attempts. And many a times what happens with us is that Initially for 2 to 3 attempts we take it very lightly कि चलो घर वालों ने बोला है और some friend is doing, I should also do this. Then in the middle of the process suddenly we get a hang of the things कि नहीं यार ये सही चीज और मुझे ये करना है. And now you are encouraged, now you are ready to put in that effort, that additional effort that is needed to clear this exam, but you have got only 3 attempts left, and naturally if you miss only even one attempt, next will be your penultimate attempt. Imagine the pressure that you will be having. So that is why I say to everyone, it is not a sprint that who is going to give the first attempt. Does not matter when you are giving your first attempt. What matters is whether you are qualifying or not. And you see, when you see that people clearing it in first attempt or second attempt, it is because they have been preparing for it for last 2 years. They are completely ready with their mains, and then they give it to their prelims, and then they qualify it. Since they are ready with the mains, with little effort they score better, it's interview, they get into the list. So I am talking all this so that you please understand it, please understand it. Do not be that much reckless. Okay? So ठीक है ना, कंटेंट का पर्पस यही है, दिस इज हाउ यू हैव टू बिल्ड योर कंटेंट. और अगर नहीं है तो डू नॉट गेट ट्रबल्ड. ऑन द इंटरनेट देयर इज इनफ मटेरियल अवेलेबल. बट यस, आपको अपने कंटेंट में क्या करना है? सबसे पहली बात, no extreme words, extreme statements. You have to be moderate, you have to be mellowed down. Avoid any politically partisan statement or point, because generally what happens is that we go for Hindu Express, from there we get some points, but in general those points are not worth writing in your answer sheets, because they are politically motivated points, they are partisan points, you just cannot write them. One of the answers, I think last week or perhaps in DAMP 1 it was, something was written regarding BJP and RSS. Why? Do you have lack of points? You do not know who is going to evaluate your copy. What if the ideology of the person or thinking of the person is somewhat different? If you do not write point, at least you are not going to penalized. But if you write that point, chances of getting penalized becomes more, and the deduction in the marks will be much more than what you were expecting in increase in your marks because of that one point. Be it BJP, be it Congress, nahi. We have to discuss about institutions, not individuals. Okay? So rather than writing about Ashok Gehlot, write Rajasthan CM, because Rajasthan CM is an institution, Ashok Gehlot is an individual. Rather than writing Narendra Modi, write Prime Minister of India or Indian Prime Minister. So these are some things that you have to keep in mind, and naturally with more and more writing of answers, you will improve it. Now let us come to the next part, that is presentation. We anyway know that it is presentation. So you see, presentation is nothing but icing on the cake. Whatever cake was there, it was already there, that is in your content. You have understood the demand, you have structured, you have written the content. Now, if your presentation is good, naturally just on the cake, if icing is good, overall cake looks more attractive and you would want to buy it, you would want to have it. But suppose that icing is not good, no matter how good your cake is, or how good specific cake is, would you like to buy it? You are not going to trust the shopkeeper, right? So that is what presentation does. Even if you have got very good content, but if your whatever you are writing, it is not legible, it is not clearly visible, one cannot read it very comfortably, naturally your marks will get deducted. And moreover, again, let us go back, they are 55-60-year-old people. Why do you want them to put so much strain, to give so much strain to their eyes? Make their life very comfortable. So whatever suggestions I have given previously during the content, remember those. Another is that subheading, give subheadings, keep it brief, get the words from the question only. I hope you are understanding what I mean by this one. Then the next would be you can put it in box or you can underline it. The purpose is to make it clearly visible. You have to ensure that it is clearly visible. That is the purpose. Just for example, you see, suppose this is your answer sheet. This is the question. You started writing from here. This is your introduction. This is intro. Then give a subhead like this, which is very clearly seen, and next beyond that 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. Now you want to change, no need for that language, that something, many a times we tend to write it, despite these opportunities there are also some associated challenges. Not needed, just write it. Challenges 1, 2, 3, 4. So that when the examiner looks at it, he can very clearly see that, okay, this is one part of the question, this is another part of the question. Sorry, one part of the answer, this is another part of the answer. Next would be, which is most common suggestion, underline your keywords or terms, even put it in बॉक्स. यहां आप लोग क्या गलती करते हो, पूरी की पूरी लाइन अंडरलाइन कर दी. आई हैव सीन दैट, मैं इसमें से नथिंग आई एम सेइंग इज इमेजिनरी, आई हैव गॉट प्रूफ फॉर एवरीथिंग, आई कैन नॉट शो इट. पूरी की पूरी लाइन अगर अंडरलाइन कर रहे हो, पूरी लाइन अगर इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसका मतलब उसमें कुछ भी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. किसी का इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेटमेंट अगर है, दैट स्टेटमेंट, दैट कोट कैन बी इंपॉर्टेंट. नेम ऑफ सम स्पेसिफिक कमिटी, स्पेसिफिक कमीशन और स्पेसिफिक डेटा, दैट विल बी इंपॉर्टेंट. पुट दैट इन बॉक्स. Because if you start underlining everything, why would examiner take that pain of writing reading everything? He will simply say, यार इसमें कुछ भी नहीं है, so that he has just underlined everything. No. और तभी मैं कह रहा हूं टाइम लो, आधे घंटे में लिखो एक आंसर, लेकिन अच्छे से लिखो, so that प्रैक्टिस करते करते सबसे पहले आपका समय किस में कम होगा, अंडरस्टैंडिंग द डिमांड, वो आप 2-3 मिनट ले रहे थे, इट विल बिकम 15 to 30 seconds। और उसके साथ जो स्ट्रक्चरिंग पे आप 5 मिनट लोगे ना, just by understanding the demand, after practice naturally structure will come to your mind, so you will not need to spare any extra time। ऐसे के केस में यस, put in half an hour, इसमें जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, and then naturally you can come to the content part। So that is why I am saying please take your time। if you are not taking, if you are rushing now, दिक्कत क्या होगी आप लोगों को कि this will become part of your habit, or whatever habits you develop in your initial days, it becomes very hard to leave those habits। So if you are putting in any habit, that should be a good habit, that should be a habit that is suitable for UPSC answer writing। just do not go for developing any habit, do not be in a rush for writing answers। I will ask you to rush to your answer writing, but there is still time left for that। trust the process। I have said this previously, I am saying that now as well। ठीक है, ये हो गया। उसके अलावा हमें क्या करना है, हमें एरो डायग्राम बना दिए, हमने बस्ट डायग्राम्स बना दिए, मतलब ऑल दिस जस्ट टू ब्रेक द मोनोटनी। ठीक है, बट यस दिस विल एड मार्क्स। अगर गड़बड़ हो गई तो दिस कैन रिड्यूस मार्क्स, मतलब अगर प्रेजेंटेशन आपका बुरा है, बट कंटेंट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली यू आर गोइंग टू गेट मार्क्स बेस्ड ऑन योर कंटेंट ओनली। This can increase or decrease, but this cannot be the core basis of your mark। ठीक है, उसके आगे 3-4 चीजें हैं, ये तो हो गया। इसके अलावा इन केस यू पीपल हैव गॉट एनी डाउट, प्लीज यू कैन आस्क दैट, ओके, इन केस यू हैव गॉट एनी डाउट। उसके अलावा 2-4 चीजें जो मैं क्लियर कर दे रहा हूं। वन डे देयर वॉज अ डिस्कशन दैट sir, why don't you put in good marks copies so that we can see that we can improve ourselves? Let me be very clear about it। if we start evaluating your copies properly, I mean strictly, naturally you will be getting 3 or 3.5 marks। if you are getting 3.5 marks, you will get that for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, naturally you will get disheartened, you will be discouraged, and you will stop writing answers। we do not want that। so that is why marking is generous। I am just saying this to you clearly, so that because we want you to write answers, and slowly when we will make it more strict, that is up to us। and since the marking is generous, even the people who are getting very good marks, they are also making mistakes। and if we put those copies in public domain for you to see, you will learn from those mistakes, and you will start committing the mistakes that you are not committing now। do we want that? the answer is no। so that is why this is the process। and regarding 24 hour window, कॉल्स कम कि सर मैंने कल अपनी कॉपी सबमिट की थी, मुझे अभी तक मिली नहीं है। so you see there is a 24-hour window for you to submit the copy, and next 24-hour window is for us to evaluate those copies। so it may so happen that you get your copy in the very first hour of that 24-hour window, or you can get your copy in the last hour of that 24-hour window। so again for that also, because I think yesterday or day before yesterday only, in the morning 10 o'clock there was a call, sir, I had submitted my copy at that time, till now it has not got evaluated, and now that was a WhatsApp chat। I said that 2 hours are still left, definitely you will be getting your copy, and there was no message from that student, it means he got his copy। so this is the specific purpose of this DAMP, daily answer writing and mentorship program। I am here now, I am sitting in front of you, I am your mentor। any question regarding anything, with regards to your preparation, your answer writing, your content, और इवन कि सर पढ़ने का मन नहीं कर रहा है, you can discuss anything. बस वही होगा कि I'll not be available every time because naturally I'll have some other engagements as well. But yes, I'll ensure that if I have seen a missed call on that particular number, because that particular number, the WhatsApp number with damp mentor, that is for this purpose only, no other calls come on that specific number. So in case there is a missed call, it means that call is from some student and I call back, or I'll send a WhatsApp message. If there is some WhatsApp message, then still I reply back. So I assure my complete cooperation with you, but yes, you'll have to trust the process and you'll have to improve yourself gradually. Any more doubts from anyone? यार ये गलत है, because you see last week there were roughly more than 20 students and they had multiple doubts कि सर इसको कैसे improve करें, इसका demand कैसे address करें. And I had said them कि I will be taking the class on this. It will be a YouTube live and you can ask your doubts. Today they are all absent. I don't know whether they are present or not, but they are not asking questions. And now when there will be this Zoom session, then again they will start asking the same doubts. ये ऐसे नहीं चलने वाला है. Now I'll simply ask you कि आप उस दिन आपने अपने डाउट्स क्यों नहीं पूछे थे. That is simply यार, देखो मैं लिबरल हूं, अदरवाइज आई एम अ वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट पर्सन. आपका ठीक है, जो ऊपर नीचे कुछ दिक्कतें हैं उसके साथ मैं कंफर्टेबली कोऑपरेट करूंगा, बट यूपीएससी के प्रिपरेशन के रिगार्डिंग आई एम स्ट्रिक्ट एंड आई विल बी स्ट्रिक्ट. ठीक है. सो सिंस देयर इज नो मोर डाउट, आई थिंक वी शुड कॉल इट अ रैप नाउ. सो आई थिंक कोई डाउट तो नहीं है ना, सब कुछ क्लियर हो गया ना, पक्का ना. Online students also, I hope it has been cleared. So this was mainly for DAMP 2 students, daily answer writing and mentorship program. We have already discussed about it in detail, and that's all for today. Thank you very much. Hope you continue to keep writing your answers, keep improving yourself, and ultimately achieve what you want to achieve. That's all. Thank you. Okay, you can go. हाँ. You can ask on camera only. हाँ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. अच्छा होगा ना कि स्टूडेंट्स सबको पता चल जाएगा. That's nice. Yes, what are the doubts? Yeah.
But I don't have notes. So
You do not have the notes. So you see, in the market there are notes available. I cannot endorse any of them from here publicly. I'll be telling, but just from your friend you can also seek an opinion that which notes are better, because you need one base material and rest all content will be added to that. So one base material, start with that and then add on to that. Okay, ठीक है. अगला, next doubt. Apart from that, any doubt, even if that is your personal doubt, so that your doubt can be the doubt of many students, so that I want that all of them should get benefited. Any more?
no, this content was my main problem.
Okay. You are writing answers?
Yeah, really.
How are you scoring?
As of now, till yesterday, 9 questions are done and scored 34. I mean, sorry, 40.
I mean, daily roughly 5 marks. And yes, regarding marking, that is another aspect. You see, in UPSC, out of 250, there is hardly any student that gets 125 in GS. So naturally, whatever scoring is there, that is on the basis of 50% marks. So you cannot expect कि सर मुझे 15 में 8 क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है, 10 क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है, because even in UPSC you are not going to get. And if we start giving you 8 and 10, naturally your hopes will be too high. When UPSC starts evaluating, your hopes will be dashed to the ground. So evaluation is out of 50%, because even in UPSC hardly anyone gets 125 out of 250. So it will be roughly around 50% or 40% or something like that. Okay, चलो ये डाउट भी इनका क्लियर हो गया, ठीक है ना, बाकी बातें हम बाहर में कर लेते हैं, ठीक है। ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच। सेवा समाप्त आज की, चलते हैं, थैंक यू।